Elecrow sent over a massive package today and it's honestly barely fitting on the frame. But a box this big usually means something even bigger is inside. Before we look at the panel, check out this ecosystem. We have a MIPI CSI camera, which is a huge step up from the SPI cameras we usually see on ESP32S. But look at these modules. Wi-Fi Halo for long-range IoT. We're talking kilometers, not meters. We have a Meshtastic module for LoRa mesh networking, an NRF24L01 for classic 2.4 GHz comms, and the new ESP32H2, which is exciting because it brings Matter and Zigbee to the table. This isn't just a display, it's a multi-protocol gateway. Alright, let's bring in the big box. Just look at the size of this thing. Right here on the label it says ESP32-P4 HMI display 10.1 inch. Seeing the P4 designation on a retail box feels like a milestone for the ESP ecosystem. We've moved from simple IoT controllers to serious HMI territory. Inside, the first thing we hit is the display unit itself, safely tucked in anti-static bubble wrap. We'll set this giant aside for just a second because the accessories tell a story of their own. We have two dedicated 8-ohm speakers. These aren't those tiny piezo buzzers. These have enough resonance for actual voice prompts or media playback. We also get a high quality USB-C cable and these pre-crimped wiring harnesses. For those of us who spend half our lives crimping JST connectors, having these ready to go for the UART and I2C ports is a massive time saver. Now for the mega reveal. Look at that. This is a whopping 10.1 inch IPS panel. We have a 1024x600 resolution. From a UI UX perspective, this changes everything. The length and height of this module are significant. It's not just a screen, it's a canvas, but a screen this large requires a lot of muscle to drive it without lag. That's where the architecture on the back comes into play. Let's flip this over and see how Elecrow is handling all those pixels. Right at the center is the ESP32-P4. For the hardware nerds out there, this chip is a significant pivot for Espressif. It's a high performance multimedia chip with a dual core RISC-V high power processor and a single core low power processor for background tasks. But here's the interesting fact. If you look around the P4, there's no antenna. No trace antenna, no IPEX connector. Why? Because the ESP32-P4 has no onboard Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. Espressif stripped the radio to maximize the silicon for compute power and display driving. To bridge that gap, Elecrow has integrated an ESP32C6 right next to it. The C6 handles the Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5 duties, acting as a communication co-processor. It's a sophisticated two-chip solution that gives you the best of both worlds, raw processing power and modern connectivity. Let's do a technical walkthrough of this board layout. Multimedia. We have a MIPI CSI interface for the camera and a MIPI DSI interface for the display. This allows for much higher frame rates compared to the old parallel or SPI interfaces. Audio. There are two Class D amplifiers on board. You can see the left and right speaker headers here. These amps ensure you get clean, loud audio without needing an external DAC amp board. There's also an onboard microphone for voice recognition or AI assistant tasks. Connectivity and expansion. We have UART1 and I2C1 for external sensors. Then there's this custom wireless slot. That's where those modules we unboxed earlier plug in. Data and programming. Here is UART0, which is your primary programming port via the USB to UART bridge chip. But next to it, we have a USB 2.0 port. The P4 supports native USB, which opens up possibilities for USB sticks or even HID devices. Power management. You can see a battery header here. While the circuit is compact, it's designed to handle portable applications. Storage and expansion. We have a microSD card slot and a full GPIO expansion header. Elecrow has kindly silk screened the pin descriptions right on the board. As an engineer, I love when I don't have to keep a PDF open just to find a GND pin. One thing I'm still investigating, we have two reset and boot buttons. with two powerful ESP32 chips, the P4 and the C6, on one board. I'm curious if these buttons default to the P4 or if there's a switching logic involved for the C6. We'll find out once we start pushing code. You might notice a lot of empty space on this PCB. You could technically fit these components on a board half this size. So why did they make it so big? It's all about mechanical engineering. When you're dealing with a 10.1 inch glass panel, the PCB acts as the chassis. If the board was small, the display would flex and eventually crack. This large footprint provides the structural rigidity needed to mount the screen and the speakers securely. Designing a board this big, managing high-speed display signals, RF antennas, and complex power paths requires professional standards. When you're designing boards of this complexity, you need an ECAD tool that manages the entire life cycle of the project. In a professional workflow today, we rely on capabilities like version control to track every design iteration and design reuse to speed up the development of complex motor drivers. We need a real-time collaboration so mechanical and electrical engineers can work on the same chassis simultaneously, and rule-driven checks to ensure the board is electrically sound before it ever goes to fabrication. If you're a student or an aspiring engineer watching this, you don't have to wait to get into the industry to learn these standards. I highly recommend checking out Altium Student Labs. It's an incredible resource where you can enroll for free to master these professional outcomes like DFM checks and supply chain risk visibility. These are the skills that separate a hobbyist from a professional innovator. You can find the link to enroll in Altium Student Labs for free in the description below. Now that we've analyzed the brain of this board, it's time to give it some eyes. This is the MIPI CSI camera module. Unlike standard SPI cameras that can be laggy, this MIPI interface is designed for high bandwidth video data, essential if you want to explore the AI vision capabilities of the ESP32-P4. Precision is key here. Using a pair of tweezers, I'm seating the ribbon cable into the FPC connector. You want to ensure it's perfectly square before activating the lock. One small misalignment here can lead to camera not found errors. Next up, the audio. These speakers come with pre-applied adhesive. I'm mounting them directly to the designated areas on the board. Since we have those dual class D amplifiers we spotted earlier, these speakers should provide a surprisingly punchy stereo experience for an HMI. We'll just snap these into the headers. No soldering required. This is a very clean system on module approach to hardware assembly. Everything is modular, which is a dream for prototyping. Alright, the hardware assembly is complete. It's time for the moment of truth. I'm connecting the USB-C power. Watch the boot sequence. This is where you see the speed of that dual-core RISC-V processor. It's nearly instantaneous. And we are live. Look at that crisp IPS panel. The stock firmware comes loaded with a few essential demos to show off the P4's versatility. SquareLine Studio demo, showing off the high-end UI widgets. Music player, testing those Class D amps. 2048 game, a perfect test for touch latency and frame rates. Camera app, real-time feedback from our MIPI sensor. Now, as much as I want to dive into the code right now, we've only scratched the surface. The software ecosystem for this board, specifically how it integrates with SquareLine Studio, deserves its own dedicated deep dive. In the next video, I'm going to see if we can break away from the stock demos. We'll be building a custom HMI from scratch in SquareLine Studio, optimizing the assets for this 10.1 inch canvas and seeing just how far we can push this hardware. You won't want to miss that one. If you have specific apps or interfaces you want me to try and build on this ESP32-P4, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching Electronics Innovation, and I'll see you in the next one.